All right. Hey guys, Josiah here at EasyCaters.com. And today I had a question come in from a valued client of mine that I decided to answer with a video. But after I got done with that one, I was thinking that maybe this would be something that would actually be valuable for the whole channel. And so I wanted to do a quick video on that. And so the user's question was, how do you scan for stocks that are showing strength since the most recent market pullback specifically? It's kind of a specific relative strength situation that they're wanting to scan for and find stocks that are performing well while the market is pulling back, indicating that they're being absorbed against the down pressure of the general market. And so that's a really good signal, and the relative strength set that I provide on the website is capable of doing that. And so I wanted to show the way that I would look for that particular type of signal. And so you can see here I've got the relative strength from date column added to my sidebar here on a watch list. And so you could use any list here that you want. This would be kind of the first way that I would do this. So if you already have a list of stocks that you like to watch, or if you go in here and say you want to look at the whole S&P 500 or the S&P 100 or the NASDAQ 100, you can pull up any list on the sidebar in your watch list and sort that list of stocks by strength from a specific date using this relative strength from date column. And so what I would do to find this kind of situation would be to look at, I'll zoom in here real quick. So the most recent highest point of the market was on February 12th, and I'm recording this on February 21st of 2024. So the most recent high is the 12th, and so what I would do is go in here into the column and type in 2024-02-12 as the date of the high of the market. And you can specify the SPX here, or the QQQs, or the SPY, or any other symbol that you want to compare it to since that date. It could be the ES, the E-mini, S&P, whichever you want. But that's where I would put that in there, and then this will allow you to sort whatever list you've chosen over here by strength from the date. And so that will tell you stocks that have gained in strength since the market started pulling back on that high, since that high. So that's one quick way to do it on a fixed watch list of stocks that you already maintain, or one of the public lists that Thinkorswim provides. The other way to do this would be to use a scan to look at all stocks using the same type of concept, and scan for stocks that have positive strength since that market high. And so in here I've pulled up the scan, and it has the same kind of inputs that this column would have. And so you can type in the date of the market high and whatever market it is you're evaluating, and you can choose your time frame here as well. And then when you run this scan, it's going to find stocks that are strong since that date. And so it's showing that there are actually a total of 662 stocks that are strong since that date, based on these particular criteria. I have it set to above $5 and average volume, average daily volume of at least 1 million shares. And so these are the strongest stocks of the first group of 200. So you can specify a subset of those here, the first 200 or the first 50 or whatever. And so this will pull up. So let's look at a couple of these stocks. So looking for strength from a particular date, obviously this stock is strong since the market pullback started, but maybe that's not the most useful thing. Some traders do trade these short squeeze type of setups, and this would be useful for finding that type of setup too. But if you're wanting to trade more, stocks that are less volatile perhaps, or more controlled trends or something like that, a little less risky, then maybe just looking at strength from the date will not find exactly what you're wanting. in that case, you might want to look at stocks that have strength from the date, and they're also in perhaps a relative strength uptrend. This is something that um, I think Stock B and some of the others on YouTube and Twitter suggest that you look for. You look for relative strength graphs that are uptrending. And so you can see here on the chart that I have loaded, and these indicators come with my relative strength set. I've got the main stock chart here, and I've added a comparison chart, and this comes with the indicator set as well. A comparison chart with the, I have it set to the SPX right now. And so you can see when the SPX is in an uptrend and when it's pulling back and so forth. And then down here, I've actually got a candle graph of relative strength. And so this is actually looking at the stocks, the open, high, low, and close of the stock divided by the open, high, low, and close of the index. And so it gives you a candle of the strength. And so you can see the high of the strength, the low of the strength, the open and the close of the strength. And so you can see how strength is behaving intraday using the candles with this graph. And then you can apply moving averages to the graph that tell you, okay, the relative strength is actually uptrending or downtrending at this point. And so this is another way that I would perhaps filter my results. Maybe I only want to look at stocks that have strength from the recent, the date that the market pullback started, but also that have the 50 MA above the 200 MA on the relative strength graph. And so that tells me that, okay, it has strength from a certain date in recent history, but it also has been gaining strength over the past, 50 bars or whatever. And so that would be another way to kind of filter it for quality and look for potential relative strength uptrends and kind of get that, that number, it's 662 total results. So we can shrink that down to only the top results that are highest quality trends and so forth. And so the way I would do that, let me just switch this around here a little bit. So on the first version of the scan that I ran, I had this set to only look for strength from the date, but now I have it set to look for strength from this date and that the 10 SMA is above the 50 SMA, which is also above the 200 SMA. So each of those are stacked on top of each other. And in this, you can set the lengths to whatever you want here, and you can set the moving average types to exponential if you would prefer exponential moving averages, or whole moving averages, or weighted moving averages, or Wilder's moving averages. Those are all the options there for you. So you can set each of the three MAs to whatever types you want. And if you're a little more, if you know how to use the code just a little bit more, then you can say, specify your own criteria, like SMA1 is above, is greater than or equal to SMA2, or any combination of those that you prefer. And then the difference between the market strength and the stock strength, you can set that to whatever threshold you want as well. I just have it set to at least above zero. It's at least positive relative strength. So it's getting any stock that's positive, and then also with those moving averages stacked on top of each other. So let's run this scan and see if we get any results for that, and see how that cuts it down. So yeah, so that reduces it down to 142 stocks instead of 662 stocks. And so that's a lot more manageable. And you could further reduce this down by saying, maybe you only want to look at stocks above $10, or maybe up here you want to exclude a category of symbols. Maybe you don't want OTC, or maybe you don't want, there's a list down in here for ETFs, so you could exclude ETFs. If I can find that in here somewhere. I think it's under A's for all ETFs, so I can exclude all the ETFs and just look at regular stocks and see if this cuts it down any. I'm not sure. And you could specify, higher volumes, so that brought it down to 128. And so we could, look for more liquidity. You could look for strength that was stronger than just being positive. Maybe it needs to be, another, maybe it needs to be at least a percentage point of strength difference or something like that. So you can play around with different settings to get your list down to a manageable size and find the types of setups that you're looking for. So let me save this to apply it. So I'm going to apply the changes that I've just made. And so this will update it on the sidebar when I pull it up here. And let me just go through and find it here. Okay, so now this is that list of 128 stocks. And now I'll go over to the charts and we can scroll through some of these and look at what they look like. So now you can see that the moving averages down here on the relative strength graph are sloping up, or at least are stacked on top of each other. I don't have the 10 SMA showing on here because it's a little, that adds too many lines, but you can see that it would easily be on top of the 50 here, and the 50 is on top of the 200. So you can see that the stock has been strong since the 12th of this month, since the market started pulling back here, and the moving averages of the relative strength are sloping up. So we're in a relative strength uptrend, and so that's a pretty high quality result, it seems like. And this is another one. This one's maybe a newer crossover, you can see, where the 50 has just recently crossed above the 200. So we've had a 200 period downtrend of relative strength, and we've recently started to show some signs of strength coming in. So that could be, an idea about how to, you can actually look for this crossover event on the relative strength graph. You can look for the 50 SMA of the relative strength to have crossed above the 200 SMA of relative strength. So that would be another way that you could use this type of thing. Here's another good example. We've got the 50 above the 200, so we've got a relative strength uptrend, and we have strong performance since the recent market high here. While the market's been pulling back, this stock has been rocketing higher. And same thing here. So you can see how this works, and I've got the column over here sorting all the lists with the highest quality, highest strength all the way at the top. But if we go down here, you can see we have some, less stellar performers, but there's still positive relative strength. You can see since the high in the market here, where the market has moved down, this stock has just barely moved up, you can see there. And also the 50 SMA is above the 200, and the 10 would be above the 50. And so you can see there's a little bit of a relative strength uptrend just kind of starting here. So hopefully that will help some of you out there to see how you can use relative strength to look for the highest quality, new trends and stocks that are performing or outperforming the market as a whole. And at least, at the very least, you can use this type of thing to weed out stocks that are really underperforming and keep those out of your, scan results, so that you can just focus on the ones that are the best performers currently. So anyway, I hope that helps, and if you guys have any questions, as always, just send us an email on the site, leave us any thoughts in the comments, and please hit like and subscribe below, and we will talk to you next time. Thanks. Oh, and just FYI, I will be packaging together all the scripts from this video, this whole chart grid with the comparison chart and the relative strength graph, this relative strength from date column, and the two scans, the two versions of the scan, the relative strength from date scan and the relative strength from date scan plus the upsloping moving averages. I'll be adding each of those scripts to a little subset package that will be included with the relative strength indicator set on the site, so you can just grab all three of those, or all four of those, I guess, at one time, and quickly get up and running with this type of system if that's what you're wanting to do. So I'll package together all those scripts into a quick list that so people can that own the relative strength set will get easy access to on the website. So I hope that helps, and I will talk to you next time.